It was beautiful to watch.
But what if he loses, though? Because we all know the path. We know what happened. But what if he loses?
I'm preparing you for reality right now, D-Style. That's what I'm doing. So
what if Wilder wins? I know you don't think he's going to win, but what if he wins? What happens next? Do we get a fourth fight? Do we get Joshua versus Wilder, for undisputed? Is Glovegate, conspiracy theories, are they vindicated now in their minds? What happens? I'm going to start with you, Maestro. What if Deontay Wilder wins? Try to put yourself in that universe right now.
Well, I mean, if Deontay Wilder wins, he wins the fight. I'm assuming if that does happen, it's likely going to be by knockout. I can't really envision that happening because I saw a Fury that lost almost 150 pounds, was by his own definition on drugs, illegal, had to lose a whole lot of weight, essentially had a prolonged fat camp, and he couldn't pin him to the canvas, as we both saw. He got off the canvas once. He got off the canvas twice. And in that first fight, I mean, he finished the fight stronger, actually hurting Wilder. Now let's flash forward to the rematch. And he took Wilder's best shot. This wasn't a Fury coming off a prolonged fat camp this time. This was a Fury that had two fights, one against Otto Wallin, where he was brutally cut up and survived it. I thought he won every round. And previous to that, he had really done a job on Tom Schwartz. Some of the best defensive work I've seen by any heavyweight in that second round when he was against the ropes, just bobbing and weaving and slipping. It was beautiful to watch.
But what if he loses, though? Because we all know the path. We know what happened. But what if he loses?
I'm preparing you for reality right now, D-Style. That's what I'm doing. So, look, he couldn't hurt him in the second fight. He took Wilder's shots flush. The thing is, Wilder telegraphs his punches. Everyone in the arena can see when he's throwing his right hand. Fury took it, and then he dominated him. And since that time, I've just seen a man in a terrible mental state that can't deal with a loss, and who's invented every excuse under the sun to explain why he didn't win the fight. So
let me ask you one more time, Milcar.
Yeah.
We know you don't think he could win, but if he wins, so what happens if he wins?
Well, if he wins, I'll guarantee you we won't see Fury's people talking about Sugar Hill spike the water. We won't be hearing Fury talking about a suit. We won't be hearing Fury's team talking about egg weights or about glove placement or about possibly having COVID-19 or about white privilege or about anything else. I'll tell you that much. If Wilder wins, we won't be hearing any of that from Team Fury. That much I can guarantee you.
How's Sunday morning going to be if Fury loses the fight?
I don't think Deontay Wilder has any intentions of unifying these titles. I used to think he did. I was falling for that, falling for the rah-rah from Wilder, the one face, the one name. But there's just too many times that fight was just kiboshed because of him. I think AJ wants to fight. I think Eddie Hearn wants to fight. I don't see Wilder fighting Fury a fourth time. I just don't see that. He may go on that hold the WBC title hostage. He may go back on that whole thing, what he was doing before. Just keep fighting the PBC guys, keep recycling them, right? I don't see him unifying, and he'd fight Fury before he'd fight Joshua. Let's just put it that way. So I just don't think he wants to do any business with Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn for whatever reason. Whether it be a personal thing or whatever, I don't know. But I think he'll just basically hold the title hostage and just keep all the fights in house like he was doing before. My opinion. Seems like the most plausible outcome if you look at the evidence. Behavior is proof, right? We got to go by what he did in the past, right?
Gail, let me ask you next. What do you think will happen if Wilder wins this fight?
you're going to see Fury, Wilder, or will in this case be Wilder, Fury 4. You're right. You're right that Wilder wants no part of Joshua. And the problem is the biggest money fight is not Joshua and Wilder. There's not a big payday in that, a big gate. The big fight is still Fury and Joshua, Fury and Joshua. And you're right about Wilder. I don't think he wants to unify. He will pull an Adonis Stevenson and duck anybody he doesn't think he can beat. But if he does beat Fury, he'll say, oh, well, I beat him once. I can beat him again. And that's a fight everyone will want to see. There is a lot of money in it here in the United States. Fury has already said he'll fight him a 4th time, a 6th time, a 72nd time if he wants. So I think that's the fight that gets made. Now, Maestro, I agree with you. I don't think it's happening. Certain fighters have a guy who's kryptonite, and Fury is Wilder's kryptonite. He's living rent-free in his head. He's messed with him. He knows how to handle him. He calls him a one-trick pony, and he's not wrong. I still think he will take a 4th fight with Fury if he wins, as improbable as that is.
Well, I think that a 4th fight is a possibility. I'll say that Deontay Wilder by knockout is not as crazy as it sounds, because we just saw Gabriel Rosado knock out Beck the Bully. Everybody picked Beck to win that fight, and look at what happened. This is the heavyweight division. Anything is possible, so I don't dismiss that possibility. To me, it's entirely possible Wilder could knock him out for more reasons than one. But as far as what happens if he knocks him out, we either see a 4th fight or we see Wilder versus Andy Ruiz at the end of the year, and they'll use the name of Anthony Joshua to sell the fight, because he can always say, if he wins the Ruiz fight, if he wins the Fury fight, if he wins the Ruiz fight, the marketing angle becomes, well, I knocked out the man that knocked out Andy Ruiz. You saw what happened to Ruiz with Areola now that he lost the weight. I always said he shouldn't slim down. He should stay his size and focus on subtle movements and boxing on the inside. If anything, he needs to focus on his feet. Just figure out how to cut the ring off, and he's dangerous, because I've always thought he was dangerous. But he lost all that weight. He lost that shock absorber in his neck. I think he took a right hand from Areola, and his head got jostled. If Areola can hurt you and drop you, then Wilder can knock him out. So I'm thinking if he wins the Fury fight, we either get Wilder versus Fury 4 or we get Wilder versus Ruiz at the end of the year on pay-per-view. As far as undisputed, it won't happen in this cycle of heavyweights. Maybe the next one, but not this one.
So regardless of who wins, no undisputed?
No undisputed with this cycle of heavyweight.
Well, man, that's a good question. I think I would have to agree with what Ring IQ just said. I think you'll probably go ahead and fight Andy Ruiz. I actually think that's a big fight and an interesting fight, especially because both guys are PBC, easy to make, in-house money, and it's a good fight too, you know. But you guys know me. I'm a big fan of Undisputed. I would rather see Undisputed. I just don't know if that will happen if Wilder wins. He had an opportunity to do that with Anthony Joshua. Didn't happen. So I think that the odds are pretty low if he wins this fight for Undisputed. But personally, what I would think if he wins the fight, I mean, hey, I would give him his congratulations, say good job, you know. Don't make any more excuses for anything ever again, please, you know. And, you know, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't have any investment here in any of these guys. I just don't like the fact that he made all these false accusations with no proof. That's it. You know, it's nothing personal against Deontay Wilder. And he does have a good shot at winning because we know he's got power in that right hand. He could end any fight with a big shot. I just think that those odds are slim because Fury has taken those right hands. He's been dropped by the right hand, and he's gotten up, you know. And that was in the first fight. The second fight, he took the right hand away from him pretty much. So I think it's good. It's pretty easy to say that Fury's going to be the favorite for good reason. I think he's going to win. But if Wilder wins, I think that's what will happen. He'll end up fighting Ruiz.
So if he wins, let me say this. If Wilder wins this fight, there is no doubt in my mind that the Glovegate conspiracy theorists will be, quote unquote, validated, at least in their minds. It will validate to them that the second fight was not so much a fluke, but that there was cheating going on. I think that that's what we're going to be dealing with in the aftermath of the fight. That's what I personally